The city is still standing. That is the first thing you notice. Steel towers rise into a pale winter sky. Their edges are sharp, confident, untouched by doubt. The streets below them are full, but something is different now. The rhythm has slowed. The noise is thinner. The air feels heavier, as if the city itself is holding its breath. You were standing in New York, early 1930. Only a few months ago, this was the center of unstoppable momentum. Money flowed like electricity. Fortunes were made between sunrise and sunset. Men in tailored suits believed they had mastered the future. Now, the future has turned silent. Imagine walking down Fifth Avenue. The storefront windows are still polished. Mannequins still wear the latest fashions. Silk dresses, fine hats, leather shoes that shine under weak daylight. But fewer people stop to look. Fewer people go inside. You hear footsteps echo more than voices. A newspaper boy stands on the corner. His hands are red from the cold. He calls out headlines that no longer sound exciting. They sound uncertain. Words like decline, loss, and closures repeat themselves day after day. People still buy the paper, but they read it slowly now, carefully, as if each line might change their lives. Step closer to Wall Street. The buildings here feel taller, more imposing. Their stone faces reflect a past confidence that has not yet faded. But if you listen, the conversations are no longer bold. Men gather in small groups outside banks. Their coats are dark, their collars raised. They speak quietly, leaning toward each other, as if afraid of being overheard by the city itself. There is no shouting, no panic in the open, only tension. Inside the stock exchange, the noise still exists, but it is different from before. The energy is strained. Movements are sharper. Faces are tighter. Clerks move quickly, but not with excitement, with urgency. Something has already broken, and everyone feels it. Just months earlier, in October 1929, the market fell with a force that few understood. Prices collapsed. Confidence vanished. Wealth disappeared not in years, but in hours. Yet in early 1930, many still believe this is temporary. Correction. Pause. They say the system will recover. They say America is too strong to fall. So life continues, at least on the surface. Now move north into the neighborhoods where ordinary people live. Tenement buildings line the streets. Brick walls, narrow staircases, shared spaces. Inside, families gather around small tables. The rooms are warm but crowded. Breakfast is quieter than it used to be. A father folds his newspaper and places it beside his plate. He does not speak immediately. His wife watches him, waiting. The children sense something is wrong, but they do not ask. Finally, he says a few words. Work is uncertain. Hours may be reduced. Maybe next week, maybe tomorrow. No one reacts strongly. They have heard this before, but each time it feels heavier. Look at the kitchen. The food is simple. Bread, coffee, maybe a small portion of eggs. Nothing wasted. Nothing left behind. Every decision now carries weight. Every coin matters. Step outside again. The streets are still alive, but the details reveal the truth. A factory whistle blows in the distance, but fewer workers walk toward it. Some stand near the entrance, waiting, hoping their names will be called. Others already know they will not be. A man adjusts his hat and walks away slowly. He does not look back. Further down the block, a small shop owner opens his store. He arranges goods carefully in the window. He makes everything look full, abundant. But inside, the shelves are not as stocked as they appear. Customers come in, but they buy less. They ask more questions. They hesitate before every purchase. The owner smiles politely, but his eyes reveal calculation. Rent is due soon. Suppliers expect payment. And the numbers are no longer adding up. Now imagine the evenings. The city lights still glow. Broadway is still bright. The theaters are open. Music spills into the streets. For a moment, you might believe nothing has changed. People still attend shows. They still laugh, still clap, still escape into stories. But even here, the audience is thinner. Seats remain empty, and those who do attend hold onto their money more tightly. Entertainment becomes not just pleasure, but necessity. A brief relief from a growing pressure that no one can fully explain. Move again, this time to the edges of the city. The industrial zones. Warehouses stand near the river. Ships come and go, but less frequently. Cargo is lighter. Orders are fewer. The global flow of goods has slowed, though few understand how deeply connected everything has become. Dockworkers wait longer between shifts. Some are sent home early. Some are not called at all. They gather in groups, leaning against wooden crates, smoking quietly. Their conversations are short, practical. They speak of work, of pay, of rumors. Always rumors. A factory closing. A bank failing. A company cutting wages. Each story travels quickly, and each one adds another layer of uncertainty. Now consider the banks. They are still open. Their doors are solid. Their interiors calm and orderly. Tellers stand behind polished counters. Customers approach one by one, conducting their business with careful politeness. But beneath this calm, something fragile is forming. Trust, or rather, the slow erosion of it. A woman withdraws a small amount of money. Not everything, just enough to feel secure. She places it in her purse and leaves. Behind her, another customer watches. Then another. The idea spreads quietly. Not panic. Not yet. Just caution. And caution, multiplied across thousands, begins to change the system itself. Return now to the streets of Manhattan. Winter air moves between the buildings, sharp and unforgiving. The city feels colder than it did before, though the temperature has not changed. What has changed is perception. People walk faster, but not with purpose. With concern. Their eyes scan storefronts, headlines, faces. They are searching for signs. Any sign that things will return to normal. But normal is already slipping away. You pass a construction site. Steel beams rise into the sky, part of a new skyscraper. Workers continue their tasks, high above the ground, balancing on narrow frames. From a distance, it looks like progress, like confidence. But even here, whispers circulate. Funding may stop. Projects may pause. Nothing is guaranteed anymore. Still, the structure rises. Because for now, it must. This is the strange contradiction of 1930. The city is both moving and slowing at the same time. Hope and doubt exist together. Public confidence remains, but private fear grows. And beneath everything lies a deeper question. How did this happen? To understand that, you must look backward, to the years before this moment. The 1920s, a decade of expansion, of innovation, of belief in endless growth. Credit became easy. Investment became popular. Ordinary people entered the stock market, convinced that prices would always rise. Banks lent money freely. Companies expanded rapidly. Consumption increased beyond sustainable limits. And for a time, it worked. The system fed itself. Rising prices created more confidence. More confidence created more investment. More investment pushed prices even higher. But this growth was not stable. It was built on expectation, on belief. And when belief faltered, even slightly, the structure could not hold. The crash in October 1929 was not just a financial event. It was a psychological break. A sudden realization that the future was uncertain. That wealth could vanish. That security was not guaranteed. Now, in 1930, the consequences are unfolding slowly. Not as a single dramatic collapse, but as a gradual tightening. Like a city being slowly squeezed. Businesses reduce spending. Factories cut production. Workers lose jobs. Consumers buy less. And each of these actions feeds the next. A chain reaction, quiet but powerful. You can feel it in the silence between conversations. In the hesitation before purchases. In the careful way people now live their daily lives. Stand still for a moment. Listen. The city is not dead. It is not even broken. But it is changing. The confidence that once defined New York is fading, replaced by something more cautious, more restrained. People are adapting, though they do not yet know how far this will go. They believe this is temporary, a phase, a downturn that will pass. And perhaps that belief is necessary, because without it, the uncertainty would be too heavy to carry. As the sun begins to set, shadows stretch across the streets. The buildings darken, their outlines softer now against the fading light. Windows glow one by one. Inside them, families gather. They eat simple meals. They speak quietly. They plan carefully. They hold on to what they have. And they wait, not for change, but for clarity, for a sign that the ground beneath them is stable again. But that sign does not come. Not yet, because this is only the beginning, the first shift in a long and difficult transformation. And the city, for all its strength, is just starting to feel the weight of what lies ahead. The night settles over New York. The lights remain, but the certainty is gone. Morning arrives without announcement. No sudden noise, no dramatic change. Just a slow gray light moving across the buildings of New York. You stand again in the city, but something has shifted further now. It is no longer just tension. It is becoming reality. Walk down the same streets you saw before. Look carefully. There are more men standing still. Not walking, not working, waiting. They gather near factory gates, near construction sites, near office buildings. Hats pulled low, hands in pockets, shoulders slightly forward against the cold, but also against something else. Uncertainty has turned into absence. Jobs are no longer at risk. They are gone. A foreman steps outside a factory entrance. He does not need to speak loudly. The crowd already understands. There will be no work today. A few men nod. Some turn away immediately. Others stay for a moment longer, as if standing there might change the outcome. But nothing changes. The door closes, and the street absorbs them again. Move toward Lower Manhattan. The financial district is still active, but the energy has drained further. The sharp confidence that once lived here has been replaced by quiet calculation. Inside offices, managers sit behind desks covered in papers. Numbers are reviewed again and again. Costs must be cut. Operations reduced. Expansion stopped. There is no talk now of growth. Only survival. Clerks move more slowly. Conversations are shorter. Decisions carry more weight. Each one affects lives beyond the room. Outside, something new begins to appear. Lines, not organized at first, just small groups forming near certain buildings. Charity kitchens, relief stations, places where food is given, not bought. At first, people approach carefully, quietly, looking around to see who else is there. No one wants to be seen, but hunger is stronger than pride. And soon, the lines grow longer. Men stand shoulder to shoulder, waiting patiently. Some speak softly. Others remain silent, staring ahead. A bowl of soup, piece of bread. It is enough to bring them back the next day. Now step into a residential street. The changes here are more personal. A mother sits by a window, mending clothes that have already been repaired many times before. The fabric is thin. The thread is visible. But replacing it is not possible. So it is repaired again. Children play on the floor, but their games are quieter. They sense the mood of the room. They understand, without being told, that something is wrong. A knock comes at the door. It is not a friend. It is the landlord. The conversation is short. Rent is due. Payment is late. More time is requested. Less time is given. The door closes again. Inside, the room feels smaller. Now move through the city as the days pass. The change is not sudden. It spreads slowly, like a shadow moving across a wall. Businesses begin to close. First a few, then more. Storefronts that once displayed goods now show empty space. Windows gather dust. Signs remain, but they no longer invite anyone inside. A barber shop with no customers. A tailor with unfinished suits. A grocer with shelves half full. Each closure removes more life from the street. Each one reduces the movement, the sound, the purpose. The city begins to feel paused. Walk toward the banks again. This time, the atmosphere is different. The quiet caution of before has shifted into something more visible. Lines form outside. People wait to withdraw their savings. Not because they want to spend, because they are afraid. Afraid the money will disappear if they leave it inside. Inside the bank, employees try to maintain calm. Voices are steady, movements controlled, but the requests are constant. Withdrawals increase, cash reserves shrink, and once a bank begins to struggle, word spreads quickly. Another line forms somewhere else, then another. Trust, once broken, does not return easily. Now move to the docks. The river is still there. Ships still arrive, but fewer, much fewer. Global trade has slowed sharply. Orders have been canceled. Contracts delayed. Crates sit unopened. Warehouses hold goods that no one is buying. Dockworkers lean against railings, watching the water. There is less to do and more time to think. Some talk about leaving the city. Others have nowhere to go. So they stay, and they wait. Return to the streets at night. The lights are still on, but they feel different now. Less like celebration, more like resistance. Theaters continue their shows. Music still plays. Actors still perform with energy and precision. For a few hours, the audience can forget. They can sit in the dark and watch another world unfold. A world where problems are solved, where endings are clear. But when the show ends, the reality returns immediately. The cold air, the quiet streets, the same questions waiting outside. Now step back. Look at the city from a distance. New York is not collapsing in a single moment. It is transforming, layer by layer. Confidence is replaced by caution. Caution becomes fear. Fear becomes behavior. And behavior reshapes the entire system. Factories produce less. Workers earn less. Families spend less. Businesses earn less. And the cycle continues. There is no single cause now. Only interconnected effects. A system turning inward on itself. And at the center of it all is the individual. The ordinary person. The worker. The shop owner. The parent. Their daily life is where the depression truly exists. Not in charts. Not in headlines. But in decisions. Small decisions, made every day. Do we buy this? Do we save that? Do we wait? Do we risk? These questions repeat endlessly, and with each answer, the future becomes slightly more uncertain. Now consider the emotional weight. It is not loud. It does not announce itself. It sits quietly, in conversations that stop too soon, in glances that last too long, in the way people avoid certain topics. Hope is still present, but it is more fragile, more careful. People no longer assume things will improve. They hope they will, but they are no longer sure. Walk once more through the city. Notice the details. A man selling apples on a street corner, not as a business, as survival. A family sharing a meal in silence. A worker reading the same job notice again and again. A shop owner turning off lights earlier than before. These are not dramatic scenes, but together they define the moment. Now the question becomes unavoidable. How long will this last? No one knows. Not the workers, not the business owners, not even the leaders, because this is not just a local problem. It is national, global. The systems that connected prosperity are now spreading hardship. And New York, once the symbol of endless growth, is now one of the first places to feel its full weight. But even now, the city does not stop. Cannot. People continue to move, to adapt, to endure, because survival is not a choice. It is a necessity. Stand still one last time. Look at the skyline, the same buildings, the same streets, the same city, and yet completely changed. Not in structure, but in spirit. The Great Depression has not fully revealed itself yet, but its presence is clear. It is in the silence, in the hesitation, in the careful way life is now lived. This is the beginning of a long chapter, one that will reshape not just New York, but the entire nation. A chapter of hardship, of endurance, of slow, difficult change. And as the night deepens once again, the city continues to breathe, slower, heavier, but still alive, waiting for a future it can no longer predict, and learning step by step how to survive without certainty.